Hi everyone, my name is Christina, and for my special education presentation, I chose to do visual impairments. You can follow along with the PowerPoint presentation that I provided. You'll find all the information within the slides. So to start off, I'd like to provide you with some background information. So about 26 million people in the United States are considered visually impaired. Many people have some sort of eye problem at some point in their life. Some that we might experience are very common problems, such as not being able to see small print or not being able to see objects far away. These conditions can be treated with eyeglasses. Some more chronic conditions are when you have damage to your eye or your brain. This is when images cannot be processed, and you may even result in vision loss. So medical professionals will be unable to restore your vision in this case. Students are considered visually impaired if their vision affects their academic performance. So what exactly is visual impairment? Well, visual impairment is any type of vision loss, whether it's someone who can't see at all or someone with minimal vision. Therefore, there's 3 levels to visual impairment. The first level is the mild level. It's called moderate visual impairment. This is where you will experience minimal vision. So the second level is legally blindness. This is also minimal vision, and you are considered a hard of seeing individual. The third level is blindness. This is loss of eyesight completely, and this is also the final level of visual impairment. So what exactly causes visual impairment? Well, you can be visually impaired at birth. This is due to inheritance or caused by an infection that's transmitted by the mother during pregnancy. This type of condition is called congenital blindness. Other conditions consist of cataracts, which are cloudy areas within your eyes. This prevents light from passing through, which causes loss of vision. Commonly affects people in their 70s or older, and some symptoms that you might find are double vision, blurred vision, cloudy vision, or faded colors. So amblyopia is another condition, which is reduced vision caused by lack of use in early childhood. For example, students who have misaligned or crossed eyes send different messages to the brain. The brain may suppress these images, and your eye may become a lot weaker, which causes it to stop developing. Glaucoma is increase in pressure in your eye. The pressure damages the optic nerve, which is very important in your eyesight, and this is also most common in older adults. Macular is deterioration of the retina, also most common in elders, and you should avoid exposure to the sunlight and smoking. Trachoma is inflammation in the eye caused by chlamydia. It's commonly found in overcrowded living conditions and poor rural areas. The last condition is diabetic retinopathy. These are when blood vessels in the retina are damaged due to diabetes. So there are no early warning signs, and you must attend regular eye exams. You should also avoid smoking, high blood pressure, and sugar intake. So some defining features. Some of these are very noticeable. And for example, crossed eyes, eyes that have a constant flutter, eyes that turn out, eyes that do not focus, overly clumsy, walking into things, falling down, poor academic performance, tend to hold objects too close to your face or too far away, difficulty writing, you may not read well, you may need something to guide you along, for example, your finger within the book. You have poor hand-eye coordination, you have a short attention span, constant blinking, squinting, redness in your eyes, constantly rubbing your eyes, or even difficulty playing sports or participating in school projects. For children who have vision problems from the start, it's more difficult to detect because they're so used to their vision problem that they consider it normal. So they also tend to not complain, which is not very good because this condition may go on a lot longer than it should. Most problems with learning pertain to actually poor vision rather than a specific learning disability. And children with poor hand-eye coordination have become accustomed to using one eye at a time, but still experience problems with coordination, depth perception, and even balance. So many problems within your eyesight is not detected until after a child goes to school, unfortunately. According to the American Optometric Association, 80% of a child's learning relies on vision. Therefore, it's important that children are diagnosed and treated at such a young age. So the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends that children under the age of 5 get their eyes examined at every doctor visit that they attend. If you're over the age of 5, they should still get their eyes examined at least once a year. So some incidences I'll go over with you include that students with visual impairments also have conditional impairments. The rate of occurrence for individuals under the age of 18 is 12.2 per 1,000. The rate of occurrence for individuals with legal or total blindness is 0.06 per 1,000. It's common for teenagers to become visually impaired through playing sports, and 1 of 20 preschoolers in the U.S. have a vision problem that will affect their learning. I also just want to point out that many students with visual impairments also have an additional conditional impairment. And if a teenager becomes visually impaired through playing sports, it's usually due to the fact that they might be playing football and they get tackled, hit their head, their eyesight, they lose vision, or they might be playing baseball, they get hit in the head with the baseball, which also may cause loss of vision. Those are just some examples. In 2013, the American Foundation for the Blind reported in the U.S. that 93,600 students were visually impaired or blind. 55,200 students are legally blind, and 5,500 students are proficient at Braille reading. Other incidents include, in terms of age, the global estimate of number of people visually impaired. So this is in terms of millions. So 0 to 14 years, it's 18.9 million. 15 to 49 years old is 80.2 million. 50 and older is 186.2 million. So in terms of the region, the number of people visually impaired. Africa has 26.2 million people. America has 26.6 million people. India has 62.6 million people, and China has 75.5 million people. So some manifestations in the educational realm. The student may have difficulty reading the board from a far or short distance. They may constantly tilt their head when using their eyes, or they might have difficulty reading or writing. They also bump into things a lot in the classroom, and they also may not look at other students or even you, the teacher, when they are talking to you. They tend to have a short attention span and a poor academic performance due to their eyesight. They also have difficulty completing assignments and difficulty participating in gym activities or school projects. So vision loss impacts the students' learning. Students must be taught other ways to learn effectively, for visual impairments can in fact impact the normal sequence of learning. This includes socially, motor skills, language, or cognitive skills. Students who have low motivation and low self-esteem is due to vision loss as well. They may interact with others and have very few friends, unfortunately. They cannot share visual experiences. They don't want to explore the environment. They have a negative impact on social skills, and they also feel as if they cannot master their own life. So students need specialized instruction. This includes communication skills, social interaction skills, orientation, mobility, independent living. They may have assistive technology they need instruction with, career education, or even self-determination. So some strategies to provide support and assistance to the visually impaired. So I listed a bunch of strategies. Actually, I'll begin with the first one is that you should make sure that all the teachers and the staff, the students, are all aware that they have a visually impaired student in their classroom. An IEP or a 504 plan is necessary in this case. You should allow the student to bring a guide dog to school, and these dogs are easily trained and well behaved, so they will not disturb the class. So students should be seated where they will be able to receive verbal cues when the teacher is speaking, since they cannot receive visual cues. It's important that the teacher speaks directly to the entire class and that no sound is muffled for the visually impaired student to understand them. The teacher should always verbalize what they are writing on the board as well. After agreement forms are signed, student is eligible to tape the lecture, and it's important as a teacher that we allow our students to do this. You should also offer the student taped textbooks And materials in the classroom should be kept in a consistent location so that the visually impaired student can always find them easily. Tests should be read to the student by a specified reader. Tests can be produced in large print or braille. You should allow extra time for the test taker, and you should speak loudly and clearly and use descriptive terms. You should use readers, scribes, word processors, large print magnifying equipment when necessary. You should address the visually impaired student by name always so that they know that you are speaking to them. And you should allow assistance to the student when walking. Always introduce yourself and anyone else who might be present when speaking to the visually impaired as well. This is out of courtesy. Some other strategies that you may provide is that the student may need extra time to get to class or to complete work. They should be able to leave the classroom about 5 minutes early so that they can arrive at their next class on time. They should also be allowed visits to the nurse when necessary. You should familiarize the student with objects around the classroom so that they can identify where everything is properly. You should also allow the student to use a portable translator. This can help them educate themselves independently. And you should make sure that the classroom is free of obstacles and easy to move around in. Make sure that you push the chairs in, make sure that the desks are lined up properly, the doors shut. Little things like that can definitely help the visually impaired. And the student may have low self-esteem because of their disability, so you should be sure that you encourage them when it's necessary. The student is the expert on their on what they need in life, so do not hesitate to ask if there's anything you can do to better accommodate them. Because there are different levels of visual impairments, the student must need to be considered on an individual basis as well. So other assistance and support, I provided some assistive technology that should be used for the student to excel academically. For example, some computer adaptations consist of a Braille translation software and printer. This actually converts the Braille and embosses it on paper. So a screen reader actually converts computer text to audible speech to also help them. Other devices might include a talking calculator. When doing math, you might calculate the voice. You speak to the calculator, it inputs, and then it outputs with a voice as well. So in order for the student to become proficient in assistive technology, they must gain the most efficient education. And it's helpful that the teacher becomes trained as well in case the student needs assistance with technology. So one thing that I found interesting, I provided a picture in my PowerPoint, is the magic wand. You might see a lot of visually impaired students walking around with a magic wand. This wand actually tells them where they are walking and gives them directions. For example, they have a little microphone that picks up verbal commands and inputs from the user. They also have a little computer connection where you can download map information, and it kind of guides you in the direction that you're looking to go in. So I found this really interesting because I never knew that all this technology was included within that little wand. On my next slide, you'll find a video actually that you can watch. This pretty much sums up my presentation thoroughly, and it also provides a lot of teaching strategies for teachers who are interested in learning about the visually impaired. I also just want to go over one other thing with you. I provided a PDF file that also gives teaching strategies for the visually impaired, and also a vision concerns handout. This allows you to look at the ABCs of vision problems. For example, they have appearance for A, behavior for B, and complaints for C. In each category, you'll find different examples of conditions that the student might have. For example, in appearance, they might have eyes that are in constant rapid motion or excessive tearing. For behavior, they may show poor muscle coordination, or they may rub their eyes often. And then at the end, it asks if any of these conditions are school related. For example, having trouble handwriting, or you need more light to read than expected. So you should definitely look over that little PDF file that I provided you with because I found it very helpful. And that's my presentation on visual impairments. Thank you.